The sky above the 100th floor was red, not the red of sunset, not the red of fire. It was the color of a dying world. Cracks stretched across the heavens like shattered glass, exposing endless darkness beyond. Mountains floated in pieces through the air. Rivers hung upside down. Reality itself had begun collapsing under the pressure of the battle that had taken place here. At the center of the destruction stood one man, Kang Jin-yuk. Blood dripped from the black blade in his hand. His armor was shattered. His body was covered in wounds, yet his eyes remained calm, cold, victorious. At his feet lay the corpse of the final Tower Lord. The monster was larger than a mountain. Golden blood poured from the massive wound, splitting its chest in two. Hundreds of glowing eyes across its body slowly dimmed. For 10 years, humanity had climbed, bled, suffered. And now it was over. For a long moment, nobody moved. The corpse of the final Tower Lord stretched across the ruined battlefield like a fallen god. Then someone laughed. A shaky, disbelieving laugh. "We won." Another hunter dropped to his knees. "We actually won." The word spread. Like fire, like hope, like a dream nobody dared believe. One by one, hunters began laughing. Some cried openly. Others simply stared at the dead monster, as though afraid it might rise again. After 10 years of hell, nobody knew how to react. Lee Min-seok suddenly raised his shattered shield. "It's over!" Cheers exploded across the battlefield. Jin-yuk closed his eyes for a brief second. The sound felt strange. For 10 years, every victory had been followed by another disaster, another floor, another nightmare. But this time, there was nothing waiting ahead, just peace. A small smile appeared on his face. Min-seok immediately pointed at him. "Holy shit." Several hunters turned. Yuna blinked. "You smiled," Jin-yuk sighed. "Don't make it weird." Laughter erupted around him. For a brief moment, they weren't legends. They weren't humanity's strongest hunters. They weren't survivors. They were simply friends, people who had endured hell together. Jin-yuk looked at Min-seok. 10 years ago, the giant warrior had dragged him out of a collapsed dungeon while screaming that dying wasn't allowed until they shared drinks afterward. He looked at Yuna. 8 years ago, she had nearly died protecting him from a dragon lord's breath attack. He looked around at all the faces that had climbed beside him, the people he trusted more than anyone. A warmth settled in his chest. "We're finally going home." For the first time in 10 years, Kang Jin-yuk lowered his guard completely. That was his mistake. Ding, a blue notification appeared before every surviving hunter. Final floor cleared. The tower conquest is complete. Reward calculation in progress. The cheers became even louder. Even Jin-yuk felt tension leave his shoulders. A reward. Maybe humanity would finally be free. Maybe every sacrifice had meant something. He lowered his sword. A metallic click echoed behind him. His instinct screamed. Danger. His eyes widened. He turned. Too late. Crack. Pain exploded through his chest. The world froze. Jin-yuk slowly looked down. A blade protruded through his heart. Blood dripped from the tip. For a second, his mind stopped working. No. His gaze followed the sword to the hand gripping it. Lee Min-seok, his oldest friend, his closest companion, the man who had survived 10 years of hell at his side. No. The word escaped before he could stop it. Min-seok's expression twisted. "Hyuk, no." Jin-yuk shook his head. "Stop joking." His voice sounded broken. For the first time in years, fear entered his eyes. "What are you doing?" Min-seok looked away. "I'm sorry." Then he twisted the sword deeper. Agony exploded through Jin-yuk's body. Blood poured from his mouth. His knees almost buckled. Behind Min-seok, another figure stepped forward. Yuna. Mana gathered around her staff. Not aimed at an enemy. Aimed at him. Jin-yuk stared. His mind refused to accept reality. "Yuna?" Her expression remained cold. "I'm sorry." The words sounded empty, meaningless. Something inside him cracked. The battlefield had gone silent. Jin-yuk slowly looked around. Every surviving hunter stood in a circle around him, watching, waiting, prepared. As if this had been planned. As if they had rehearsed it. As if he was the enemy. His breathing became uneven. His heart pounded. No, 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 this wasn't real. Then Park Sung-woo stepped forward, the guild strategist. The man who had guided humanity through countless disasters. He adjusted his glasses. "We can't allow you to live." The words hit harder than the sword. Jinyook laughed, a short, disbelieving laugh. "What?" Sungwoo sighed, as expected. "You still don't understand. Then explain." Nobody answered immediately. Finally, Minseok spoke. "You've become too powerful." Jinyook stared. "What?" "The tower is gone," Yuna said. "The monsters are gone," another hunter added. Sungwoo nodded. "Humanity finally has peace." Then Minseok finished. "And you're stronger than all of us combined." Silence. Jinyook waited. Surely there was more, a real explanation, a deeper reason. There wasn't. Fear. That was all. After everything he had done, after carrying humanity to victory, after sacrificing everything, they feared him. A bitter laugh escaped his lips. "So this is how it ends." Nobody denied it. Mana exploded from his body. Boom! The shattered battlefield trembled. Several hunters stumbled backward. Fear flashed across their faces. Good, they should be afraid. Jinyook grabbed the sword lodged inside his chest, then ripped it free. Blood sprayed across the ground. Pain threatened to overwhelm him. He ignored it. 10 years inside the tower had taught him one lesson. Pain was temporary. Betrayal lasted forever. "You idiots!" His voice echoed across the battlefield. "You think this will stop me?" He vanished. Boom! The sound barrier shattered. A hunter's head flew into the air. Chaos erupted. Attack! Spells exploded. Weapons clashed. The strongest hunters in history charged together against one man, and for a time they lost. Jinyook became a storm, a monster, a calamity wearing human skin. Every swing of his sword killed. Every step shattered the battlefield. Bodies fell. Blood painted the ruins. Yet there were too many enemies, too many wounds, too much betrayal. A spear pierced his shoulder. A blade tore through his side. A spell shattered his ribs. Still he fought. Still he advanced. Still he refused to die. Minseok slammed into him like a meteor. Boom! The impact launched Jinyook through a mountain. Stone exploded. His vision blurred. His body was finally reaching its limit. Across the battlefield stood his former companions, the people he trusted most, preparing to finish him. Something inside him finally died. Not his body, his trust, his faith, his belief in them, all gone. Minutes later, Jinyook fell to one knee, his sword shattered. His mana exhausted, his body broken. The survivors surrounded him. Nobody celebrated. Nobody smiled. Jinyook slowly looked around. At every face, every companion, every betrayer, he memorized them, burned them into his soul. Then he smiled, a terrifying smile. "If fate is kind enough to give me one more chance." The battlefield fell silent. His blood-covered eyes locked onto theirs. "I'll make every one of you beg for a death I won't give." For the first time since the betrayal began, they looked afraid. Then the floor beneath him split open. Darkness, an endless black void, a dimensional abyss, the deepest prison of the tower. Minseok stepped forward, guilt finally appearing on his face. "We can't risk you returning." The darkness swallowed Jinyook whole. His body fell, lower, lower, lower. The world disappeared. Then, ding, a notification appeared. "Hidden conditions satisfied." Jinyook frowned. "What?" Another message appeared. Golden, ancient, unlike anything he had ever seen. Activating unique authority. The void trembled. A final message appeared. Beginning regression process. Jinyook's eyes widened. Regression? Impossible. No such power existed. The light intensified. His consciousness faded. Yet one final message remained, burning itself into his soul. Returning player Kang Jinyook to the designated point 10 years prior. The void exploded into blinding light, and Kang Jinyook fell into it. Pain. The first thing Kang Jinyook felt was pain. Not the pain of a blade through his heart. Not the agony of broken bones. Not the endless wounds accumulated over 10 years of war. A different kind of pain. A headache. Sharp, violent, like someone was hammering nails into his skull. His eyes snapped open. Darkness greeted him. For a moment he couldn't breathe. The smell, the air, the silence. Everything felt wrong. The 100th floor was gone. The collapsing sky was gone. The dimensional void was gone. The corpses, the blood, the betrayal, gone. Jinyuk immediately rolled out of bed. His hand shot toward his waist, looking for his sword. Nothing. He froze. A small room surrounded him, a cheap desk, a narrow bed, peeling wallpaper, a cracked window. His eyes widened. No way! His voice sounded younger, healthier, stronger, not physically stronger, alive stronger. His hands trembled. Slowly he raised them. No scars, no calluses from years of battle, no missing finger from the Frost King raid, no burn marks from the Dragon Nest catastrophe. Nothing. His breathing became uneven. He stumbled toward the mirror hanging on the wall. The reflection staring back at him nearly stopped his heart. A 20-year-old man stared back. Black hair, sharp eyes, a face untouched by years of suffering, his younger self. Impossible. Jinyuk grabbed the edge of the sink. The memories crashed into him. The betrayal, Min Seok's sword, Yuna's cold eyes, the hunters surrounding him, the void, the golden messages. Regression. The word echoed inside his head. Regression. His gaze shifted toward the calendar hanging above the desk. The date. Everything stopped. June 14th. 10 years ago. Exactly one day before the first gate appeared. Silence filled the room. Jinyuk stared at the date. Then he laughed. A short laugh. Disbelieving. The laugh slowly became louder, more unstable, until he was laughing so hard his shoulders shook. 10 years. 10 years of bloodshed. 10 years of death. 10 years of betrayal. And somehow, he was back, actually back. His laughter suddenly stopped. The room became silent. Cold. His eyes slowly darkened. Min Seok, Yuna, Sungwoo. The faces appeared one after another, burned into his memory. He remembered every expression, every lie, every excuse, every betrayal. His fists clenched. The cheap sink cracked beneath his grip. Crack. The sound echoed through the room. A dangerous smile appeared on his face. "You should have killed me properly." His voice was barely a whisper. Yet the hatred behind it was enough to freeze the room. A knock sounded on the door. Bang, bang, bang. Jinyuk. He froze. The voice. A voice he hadn't heard in 10 years. His mother's voice. For a second, his heart stopped. No, not possible. Another knock. "Are you awake?" His eyes widened. In his previous life, his mother had died during the first gate outbreak. One of the countless casualties nobody could save. A person he never had the power to protect. Yet now, she was alive. Jinyuk rushed toward the door. His hands trembled. He opened it. A middle-aged woman stood there carrying a bowl of soup. Her expression immediately changed. "What's wrong?" Jinyuk couldn't speak. The world blurred. For 10 years, he had carried countless regrets. This was one of the largest. His mother frowned. "Why are you looking at me like that?" The bowl nearly slipped from her hands. "Are you sick?" Jinyuk stared. Alive. She was alive, not a memory, not a dream, alive. Without thinking, he hugged her. The woman froze. Jinyuk, his throat tightened. For a moment, he was no longer humanity's strongest hunter. No longer the conqueror of the tower. No longer a monster. Just a son. A son who had gotten his mother back. After several seconds, she awkwardly patted his back. "You're acting weird today." Jinyuk laughed softly. "You have no idea." She pulled away fist. Then she pointed toward the bathroom. "And fix your face. You look like someone died." The door closed. Silence returned. Jinyuk stood there, motionless. Then he looked outside the window. The city stretched before him. Cars moved through the streets. People walked to work. Children laughed. Normal. Everything looked normal, which made it worse, because he knew exactly what was coming. Tomorrow. The first gate, the beginning of the apocalypse. Millions would die. Governments would collapse. Monsters would flood the world, and the tower would appear. His gaze hardened. Not this time. This timeline would be different. His thoughts immediately began organizing themselves. Opportunities, hidden dungeons, unique items, future disasters. He remembered everything. 10 years of knowledge, 10 years of secrets. Information worth more than entire countries. A normal regressor would need years to exploit it. Jinyuk only needed hours. His eyes landed on the clock. 8:12 a.m. His pulse quickened. The hidden tutorial. In his previous life, it had appeared at midnight. Nobody discovered it until years later. By then, the rewards had already vanished. But Jinyuk knew. He knew exactly where it would appear, and exactly how to clear it. The hidden tutorial was the foundation of several future legends. This time, it would belong to him suddenly. Ding, the room froze. Jin-Yuk's eyes narrowed. That sound. A blue screen materialized before him. His heartbeat stopped. The system. It had followed him. The screen flickered. Then words appeared. Unique user detected. Analyzing. Error. Existence conflict detected. Jin-Yuk stared. What? The screen glitched violently. Lines of text appeared and vanished, as though something inside the system was malfunctioning. Then, a new message appeared. Golden. Ancient. The same color as the messages from the void. Verification complete, returned player confirmed. Silence. Jin-Yuk's expression changed. Returned player? The title hadn't existed before, not in his previous life. Not even on the 100th floor. Another message appeared. Unique authority activated. Compensation granted. Creating exclusive quest. The air inside the room became heavy. Jin-Yuk's instinct screamed. Something was wrong. Something had changed. The system wasn't treating him like a normal player. The quest window finally appeared. And for the first time since regressing, true shock appeared on his face. Hidden quest, the one who returned. You have violated the natural flow of time. Survive. Reward. Unknown failure. Permanent erasure. Silence filled the room. Jin-Yuk reread the quest once, twice, 3 times. Permanent erasure, not death, not punishment. Erasure. As though his existence itself could be removed. His expression darkened. The system had never used language like this before. Not even on the 100th floor. Something was watching him. Something aware of what he had become. Then another message appeared. A final message. 1 sentence. Simple, terrifying. The administrators have been notified. Every hair on Jin-Yuk's body stood on end. For the first time since returning, fear crept into his heart. The screen vanished. Silence returned. The city outside remained peaceful, normal, unaware. But Jin-Yuk knew the future had already begun changing. And somewhere beyond the system, something had noticed him. Something that shouldn't know he existed. His gaze slowly turned toward the horizon. A cold smile appeared on his face. Good. His eyes burned with determination. If you're watching, mana flickered around him. The first sign of power he shouldn't possess yet. Watch carefully. Tomorrow, the apocalypse would begin. And this time Jin-Yuk intended to break fate itself. The city slept. Most people had no idea the world would end in less than 4 hours. Neon lights flickered across empty streets. Late-night taxis rolled through intersections. Office workers hurried home. Students laughed outside convenience stores. Everything looked normal. That was the terrifying part. Kang Jin-Yuk stood atop a deserted office building, staring across Seoul's skyline. The cold wind brushed against his face. His eyes moved toward the digital clock displayed on a distant skyscraper. 11:47 p.m. 13 minutes. In 13 minutes, the hidden tutorial dungeon would appear. Not the first gate. Not the beginning of the apocalypse. Something even rarer. An opportunity. One that had never belonged to him in his previous life. Jin-Yuk closed his eyes. Memories surfaced. 10 years ago, nobody knew the tutorial existed. By the time its existence was discovered, every reward inside had already vanished. Countless theories emerged afterward. Some claimed it was created by the system. Others believed it was left behind by an ancient civilization. By the 100th floor, even the strongest hunters still debated its true purpose. But one thing was certain. Everyone who entered it became a legend. And tonight, Jin-Yuk intended to claim everything. The digital clock changed. 11:58 p.m., 2 minutes. His heartbeat remained steady. The city wind suddenly stopped completely. Silence spread across the rooftop. Jin-Yuk slowly opened his eyes. He recognized this phenomenon. The calm before a dimensional distortion. A faint crack appeared in the air. Then another, and another. The space above the rooftop began shattering like broken glass. Silver light spilled from the fractures. A low hum echoed through the night. Then, ding, a system notification appeared. Hidden tutorial entrance detected. Qualification check in progress. The crack widened. A glowing doorway emerged. Ancient symbols covered its surface. Unlike the modern blue windows created by the system, this gate looked old, far older, as though it existed before the system itself. Jin-hyuk stepped forward. The screen flickered. Current not met. He stopped. His expression darkened. What? Another notification appeared. Minimum qualification, level 5 current level. Silence. Jin-hyuk's eyes narrowed. That wasn't right. In his previous life, there had been no level requirement. The hidden quest, the administrators, the returned player title. The future was already changing. His mind raced. The doorway was becoming unstable. If he failed to enter now, the opportunity would disappear forever. Then he noticed something. A line of ancient text beneath the requirements, words hidden beneath layers of system code, almost invisible, almost. A normal hunter would never notice it, but Jin-hyuk had spent 10 years studying ancient tower languages. Slowly, he translated the symbols and smiled. So that's the trick. The requirement wasn't a level requirement. It was a test, a puzzle. The doorway wasn't measuring strength, it was measuring understanding. Jin-hyuk raised his hand and placed it against the gate. Then he spoke in an ancient language humanity had forgotten thousands of years ago. I seek the beginning. The symbols flashed. The doorway trembled. A new message appeared. Secondary qualification accepted. Access granted. The gate exploded with light. Jin-hyuk stepped through. The world vanished. The sensation was different from ordinary dungeon travel. There was no falling, no distortion, no nausea. Instead, it felt as though reality simply folded around him. When his vision cleared, he found himself standing in a vast stone chamber. Thousands of torches burned along enormous walls. Ancient pillars stretched into darkness. The ceiling couldn't even be seen. A strange pressure filled the air, heavy, ancient, watching. Jin-hyuk immediately recognized it. A trial ground, not a dungeon, not yet. A place designed to judge those who entered. Footsteps echoed. A figure emerged from the darkness, not a monster, a man, tall, silver-haired, dressed in black armor. His eyes glowed with golden light. The pressure instantly intensified. Jin-hyuk's instincts screamed, danger. This wasn't an ordinary NPC. The silver-haired man stared at him silently. Then his eyebrows rose. For the first time, some surprise appeared on the figure's face. Interesting. Jin-hyuk froze. In every historical record concerning the hidden tutorial, nobody mentioned an overseer. The man slowly approached. His gaze remained fixed on Jin-hyuk. Level 0, silence. Yet your soul, the figure tilted his head, does not belong to this era. Jin-hyuk's heart skipped a beat. The silver-haired man could see through him. Immediately, without effort, the overseer smiled faintly. A traveler of time. The chamber became silent. Jin-hyuk's hand instinctively moved toward his waist. No weapon, no escape. The man chuckled. Relax. The pressure vanished. I have no intention of exposing you. Jin-hyuk didn't relax, not even slightly. The overseer turned and walked deeper into the chamber. Follow. After a brief hesitation, Jin-hyuk obeyed. Massive stone doors opened ahead. What lay beyond caused even him to stop. An endless battlefield. Thousands upon thousands of stone warriors stood frozen across the landscape. Each carried different weapons, different armor, different fighting styles. The sight stretched to the horizon. Jin-hyuk frowned. What is this? The overseer smiled. The first trial. A notification appeared. Trial 1 initiated. Defeat 100 stone warriors, restrictions applied. Before Jin-hyuk could react, a golden chain wrapped around his body. His eyes widened. Every trace of mana vanished. Every stat disappeared. Every ability he remembered was sealed. The system screen appeared again. Current strength, human baseline. You've got to be kidding me. The overseer laughed. Power borrowed from the future has no value here. The battlefield trembled. 100 stone warriors slowly turned toward him. Weapons rose, swords, spears, axes, hammers, a small army. The overseer pointed toward them. Survive. The first warrior charged. Jin-hyuk moved instantly. 10 years of combat experience remained. Even without stats, even without skills, Even without mana, his body still remembered battle. A spear thrust toward his throat, he stepped aside, grabbed the shaft, twisted, crack. The warrior lost balance. Jin-Yuk shattered its head with a punch. The stone body exploded, one down. 99 remaining. The battlefield erupted. Warriors charged from every direction. A normal human would have died instantly. Jin-Yuk smiled. After surviving the 100th floor, this wasn't terrifying. It was nostalgic. Hours passed. The battlefield became a graveyard of shattered stone. Jin-Yuk bled, sweated, fought. Again and again, every movement was perfect, every strike efficient. By dawn, the final stone warrior fell. Boom. Silence returned. Jin-Yuk stood alone, breathing heavily, covered in dust and blood. Ding Trial 1 cleared. Performance evaluation in progress. The overseer stared at him, and for the first time, looked genuinely impressed. Impossible. The man shook his head. No level, no mana, no skills. Yet you completed it faster than every candidate before you. The system glowed. Golden light filled the chamber. Hidden condition achieved. Perfect completion awarded. A new screen appeared. Jin-Yuk's eyes widened. Even in his previous life, he had never heard of this reward. Unique skill granted mythic skill. Eyes of the end. The world suddenly changed. Countless streams of information flooded his vision. Weaknesses, probabilities, hidden pathways, future possibilities. Every object in the chamber became covered in glowing information. Jin-Yuk staggered. The skill was absurd, far beyond anything available during the early apocalypse. The overseer's expression became strange, almost concerned. You received that? Jin-Yuk looked up. The man's reaction confirmed it. Even he hadn't expected this reward. Then, a final notification appeared, one that caused both of them to freeze. Hidden stat unlocked authority. Current rank unknown silence. The overseer slowly stared at the screen, then at Jin-Yuk, then back at the screen. For the first time since they met, the ancient being looked shocked. Real shock. As though something impossible had just happened. Jin-Yuk's heart sank. That reaction couldn't be good. The overseer whispered one sentence. A sentence that made the chamber feel colder. Why would they give you that? Before Jin-Yuk could answer, the entire tutorial dungeon shook. The walls trembled. The torches flickered violently. Somewhere deep within the darkness, something enormous opened its eyes. Boom! The hidden tutorial dungeon shook violently. Dust rained from the ceiling. The ancient overseer's expression changed for the first time since Kong Jin-Yuk had met him. Fear. Real fear. Jin-Yuk immediately noticed it. Whatever had awakened beneath the dungeon. Even this ancient being feared it. The ground trembled again. A deep roar echoed through the darkness. The sound wasn't loud, yet it felt as though it came from everywhere at once. The overseer turned toward the endless shadows beyond the battlefield. You must leave. Jin-Yuk narrowed his eyes. What is that thing? The silver-haired man remained silent. Another tremor shook the chamber. The torches flickered wildly. For a brief moment, Jin-Yuk thought he saw something moving within the darkness. Something enormous. Watching, the overseer snapped his fingers. Space distorted. A portal opened behind Jin-Yuk. You're not ready. Jin-Yuk frowned. Then tell me what it is. The ancient man looked at him. For the first time, his expression carried something resembling pity. The less you know right now. His golden eyes darkened. The longer you live. The portal exploded with light. Before Jin-Yuk could speak again, the world vanished. His feet hit solid ground. Fresh air filled his lungs. The smell of asphalt, car exhaust, the city. Jin-Yuk immediately recognized the location, downtown Seoul. He had returned. The digital billboard above a nearby building displayed the time, 11:59 a.m., 1 minute. Exactly as he remembered. The first gate would appear in 60 seconds. Jin-Yuk slowly looked around. People crowded the streets. Office workers, students, tourists, nobody knew. Nobody had any idea their world was about to end. A little girl laughed while holding her mother's hand. A businessman argued over the phone. A couple walked out of a coffee shop. Normal. The sight made his chest tighten, because he knew what came next. In his previous life, thousands would die here. Within the hour, the clock changed. 12 p.m. Silence. The city suddenly felt strange. The wind stopped. Conversations faltered. An uneasy feeling spread through the crowd. Then, crack. A fracture appeared in the sky. Several people stopped walking. What is that? Another crack appeared. Then another. Then hundreds. The sky shattered like glass. Screams erupted. People pointed upward. Phones appeared. Someone started recording. Jin-Yuk closed his eyes. The apocalypse had begun. Boom! A massive tear ripped open above the city. Purple energy poured from the opening. The air itself trembled. The first gate. Exactly as he remembered. Unfortunately, the monsters arrived sooner than he expected. A gigantic claw emerged from the darkness. Then another. The creature forced its way through the opening. A beast larger than a truck. Covered in black scales, rows of razor-sharp teeth filled its mouth. Its eyes glowed crimson. The crowd froze. Nobody moved. Nobody understood. The monster roared. The sound shattered nearby windows. Then chaos exploded. Run! People screamed. Cars crashed. Crowds surged through the streets. Panic spread faster than fire. The beast lunged. A man disappeared into its jaws. Blood sprayed across the pavement. The crowd lost all reason. Jin-Yuk moved. His body blurred forward. The mythic skill activated instinctively. Eyes of the end. The world changed. Lines appeared across the monster's body. Weak points. Movement patterns. Predicted attacks. Everything became visible. The beast swung a massive claw. Jin-Yuk stepped aside. The attack missed him by centimeters. He grabbed a broken metal pole from a construction site, then drove it directly into the creature's eye. Crack! The monster shrieked. Jin-Yuk twisted. The metal pole pierced deep into its brain. The beast collapsed dead. Silence followed. Several civilians stared. Their mouths hung open. Nobody understood what they had just witnessed. Jin-Yuk ignored them. More gates were opening. More monsters were coming. His memories guided him. District A would collapse first. District B would survive another hour. The subway station would become a death trap. And his eyes narrowed. A specific memory surfaced. Han Seojun. The name appeared instantly. 19 years old. Part-time worker. No combat training. No special talent. In the original timeline, he died during the first gate outbreak. Crushed beneath a collapsed building. Nobody remembered him. Nobody even noticed. Except Jin-Yuk. Because years later, while reviewing casualty reports, he had discovered something strange. Seojun had been one of the few survivors who repeatedly helped strangers escape before his death. He wasn't strong. He wasn't important. Yet while everyone ran, he stayed behind to help others. The memory had always bothered Jin-Yuk. A good person had died. The world had plenty of monsters. Yet somehow one of the genuinely decent people had been taken first. Not this time. Jin-Yuk immediately changed direction. Boom! His feet shattered the pavement. He sprinted through the city. Past burning vehicles. Past screaming civilians. Past emerging monsters. Every second mattered. A familiar intersection appeared ahead. Then the collapsed building. Jin-Yuk's expression darkened. Too late? The structure had already fallen. Concrete covered the street. Dust filled the air. Several survivors cried for help. Then, a voice. Help! Jin-Yuk stopped. The voice came from beneath the rubble. Somebody help! He found him. Jin-Yuk rushed forward. A young man was pinned beneath a collapsed support beam. Dark hair, bruised face, blood running down his forehead. Han Seojun, exactly as Jin-Hyuk remembered from the casualty report photograph. Seojun noticed him. Relief immediately appeared. Please. Then his expression changed. Because Jin-Hyuk wasn't helping him. He was looking beyond him, towards something approaching. Heavy footsteps. Thud. 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 A massive ogre emerged from the smoke. 3 meters tall, muscles like stone. A rusted iron club hung from one hand. In the original timeline, this monster killed everyone here, including Seojun. The ogre roared. Nearby civilians screamed. Seojun's face turned pale. Oh God, the monster charged. Its club rose. Jin-Yuk calmly stepped forward. Seojun stared. Was this guy insane? The ogre swung. A strike powerful enough to flatten a truck. Jin-yuk moved. The club crashed into empty air. Boom! The road exploded. Before the ogre could recover, Jin-yuk was already inside its guard. His fist drove upward. Crack! The monster's jaw shattered. The ogre stumbled backward. Confusion appeared in its eyes, as if it couldn't understand what had happened. Neither could Seo-jun. The young man simply stared. Jin-yuk wasn't using weapons. He wasn't wearing armor. He looked like a normal civilian, yet he was beating a monster. Bare-handed, the ogre roared again. Mana exploded around Jin-yuk, a faint trace, small, weak, nothing compared to his future self. But enough. His fist crashed into the creature's chest. Boom. The ogre's ribcage collapsed. The monster flew backward 30 meters. Dead before it hit the ground. Silence. Dust drifted through the air. Seo-jun's jaw slowly dropped. What? His voice trembled. What are you? Jin-yuk ignored the question. He grabbed the support beam pinning Seo-jun, then lifted it. Effortlessly, the young man crawled free, still staring, still unable to process what he'd witnessed. Jin-yuk turned. He intended to leave. The city needed him elsewhere. Countless people were dying. He had no time. Then, wait, Jin-yuk stopped. Slowly, annoyance appeared on his face. He already knew what was coming. Seo-jun ran after him. Wait, Jin-yuk sighed. What? The younger man hesitated. His hand shook. The city burned around them. Monsters roared in the distance. Yet his eyes remained fixed on Jin-yuk. You saved me, Jin-yuk said nothing. You didn't even know me. Still silence. Seo-jun swallowed. Then he bowed deeply. Thank you. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Jin-yuk turned away. Go somewhere safe. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. Footsteps followed behind him. Jin-yuk kept walking. The footsteps continued. His eye twitched. He stopped. The footsteps stopped. He turned. Seo-jun froze. The young man offered an awkward smile. Jin-yuk stared. Why are you following me? Seo-jun scratched the back of his head. Honestly? Yes, you seem like the safest person in Seoul right now. Silence. Jin-yuk looked at him. Then at the burning city. Then back at him. For the first time since his regression, he genuinely didn't know what to say. Seo-jun grinned nervously. I'm sticking with you. Jin-yuk immediately rejected the idea. No. Too late. No, I'm already following you. No. Yep. Jin-yuk felt a headache coming. The apocalypse had begun. Monsters were invading. The system was watching him. The administrators had been notified. An ancient entity had awakened. And somehow, this idiot was now following him. Seo-jun pointed toward another distant explosion. So, he smiled sheepishly. What do we do next? Jin-yuk stared at him, long hard. Then he sighed. For some reason, a tiny part of him remembered the last 10 years. The betrayal, the lies, the loneliness, and the strange feeling of standing completely alone. This time, someone was walking beside him. The thought irritated him more than it should have. Jin-hyuk turned away. Do whatever you want. Seo-jun's grin widened. The two began walking through the ruined city. Behind them, a blue system window suddenly appeared, hidden from both of them. Critical divergence detected. Individual. Han Seo-jun status. Should be deceased. Future alteration confirmed. Calculating consequences. The screen flickered, then vanished. The apocalypse had been underway for 3 hours. Smoke rose across the city. Sirens screamed in the distance. Monsters roamed the streets, and Han Seo-jun was still following him. Jin-hyuk stopped at an intersection. The footsteps behind him stopped too. Slowly, he turned around. Seo-jun immediately looked away and pretended to study a destroyed vending machine. Jin-hyuk stared. The vending machine was upside down. You know I can see you, right? Jin-hyuk asked. Seo-jun coughed awkwardly. Maybe go home. I don't have a home anymore. Jin-hyuk frowned. The younger man's smile faded. The apartment building collapsed. Silence followed. Jin-hyuk remembered. It wasn't a lie. In the original timeline, the apartment complex had been destroyed during the first day. Everyone inside had died, including Seo-jun. This time Seo-jun had survived, but his home hadn't. Jin-hyuk turned away. Not my problem. Seo-jun followed. That's cold. I don't care. You're lying. Jin-hyuk stopped walking. The younger man nearly crashed into him. What? Seo-jun scratched his cheek. If you didn't care, you would have left me under the building. The words lingered. Jin-hyuk's expression darkened. For a brief moment, he remembered another voice, Min-seok, back before the betrayal, back when things were simpler. You act cold, but you're too soft. The memory felt like poison. Immediately, Jin-hyuk pushed it away. Don't assume things. Seo-jun raised both hands. Okay. The conversation ended, but the uncomfortable feeling remained. An hour later, the two stood atop a parking garage overlooking the city. Jin-hyuk's eyes narrowed. Something was wrong, very wrong. According to his memories, the Eastern District should already be destroyed. Thousands should be dead. Several key locations should be burning. Instead, the district was still standing, damaged, chaotic, but standing. His expression became serious. The future had changed, more than expected. Saving Seo-jun couldn't explain this much deviation, unless his eyes darkened. The moment he returned to the past, he began changing events. The tutorial dungeon, the monsters he killed, the civilians he saved. Seo-jun, every action created ripples, and ripples became waves. The problem was simple. The future was becoming less reliable. His greatest advantage was knowledge. If events changed too much, that advantage would disappear. A low growl interrupted his thoughts. Jin-hyuk looked down. 3 goblins emerged from an alley, small, green, weak, among the lowest-ranked monsters. In the original timeline, these creatures had slaughtered dozens of civilians because nobody understood how to fight them. Today wasn't the original timeline. The goblins spotted them. They charged. Seo-jun immediately grabbed a metal pipe. Jin-hyuk noticed. Interesting. No hesitation, no screaming, no running, just action. The goblins climbed the parking structure. Fast. One leap towards Seo-jun. The young man swung the pipe. Missed completely. The goblin tackled him. Both crashed onto the concrete. Get off! Seo-jun punched wildly. The monster bit toward his throat. Jin-hyuk sighed, then moved. Crack. The goblin's skull exploded beneath a kick. The remaining monsters froze. Eyes of the End activated. Weak points appeared instantly. 3 seconds later, both monsters were dead. Silence returned. Seo-jun sat on the ground, panting heavily. His hands trembled. The adrenaline was finally wearing off. That, he swallowed. That was terrifying. Jin-hyuk nodded. Good, what? Fear keeps people alive. Seo-jun blinked. That wasn't the answer he expected. Jin-hyuk crouched beside one of the goblin corpses. His expression changed. A small crystal protruded from the creature's chest. Mana stone, one of humanity's most valuable resources. In the future, entire wars would be fought over these. Jin-hyuk crushed the corpse and removed the stone. Then he froze. A memory surfaced. This wasn't supposed to happen. Mana stones didn't begin appearing until several days after the first gates, not on day 1, not from low-level goblins. Something had changed. Again, Seo-jun noticed his expression. What's wrong? Jin-hyuk stared at the crystal. The future was moving, shifting, changing, and he had no idea why. A bad feeling settled in his stomach. Then, ding, a notification appeared. Both men jumped. Blue light materialized before them, the system. For the first time, Seo-jun could see it too. What the hell is that? He shouted. Jin-hyuk ignored him. His eyes locked onto the screen. Global announcement. The tutorial period has begun. Humanity has entered the first trial. Survive. The city trembled. Thousands of similar windows appeared across the world. Panic spread instantly. Another notification followed. Awakening process beginning. Eligible humans will receive classes. This was familiar. Exactly as he remembered. At least until the screen glitched. Jin-hyuk's eyes narrowed. That wasn't normal. The message distorted. Several letters disappeared. Then new text appeared. Golden text. The same color as the messages from the hidden tutorial. Only visible to him. Returned player detected. Future divergence exceeds expected parameters. Calculating. Error. The screen flickered violently. Seo-jun stared. What are you looking at? Jin-hyuk didn't answer. Another line appeared, and this one made his blood run cold. An event that should not exist has been created. Silence. His heart skipped a beat. What? A hidden window opened. Hidden quest generator. The words seemed to burn against the air itself. Jin-yuk immediately understood something was wrong. Very wrong. This quest wasn't from his memories. It wasn't from the system. At least not the system he knew. The window expanded. Hidden quests, the broken timeline, the future has emerged. Find the source of the anomaly. Reward, Kamek. Failure. Future, unpredictable. For the first time since returning to the past, Jin-yuk felt genuine uncertainty. The source of the anomaly? What did that even mean? Was it Seojun, the tutorial, the authority, him? Another notification appeared. This one was worse, much worse. Additional data found. Unknown individual cleared an impossible challenge for silence. Jin-yuk's eyes widened. No, that wasn't possible. Not this early. Nobody should be capable of that. Nobody except. His thoughts stopped. The answer appeared instantly. A regressor. Another regressor. Someone else possessed knowledge of the future. The realization sent a chill through him. He wasn't alone. For the first time since his return, another player had appeared on the board. Someone who shouldn't exist. Someone changing the future alongside him. Someone dangerous, Seojun frowned. Why do you suddenly look like you're about to kill someone? Jin-yuk slowly closed the system window. His gaze turned toward the distant horizon, toward the tower. A structure that shouldn't appear for another week. Yet for some reason, his instincts told him something had already begun moving. Somewhere out there, another regressor was taking action, and if they possessed future knowledge, then they might become either his greatest ally or his most dangerous enemy. Jin-hyuk's eyes hardened. The game had become more complicated and far more interesting. Behind him, Seojun stretched. So, Jin-hyuk sighed. What now? The younger man grinned. Simple. What? For a moment, Jin-hyuk simply stared. Then he turned away. A tiny smile almost appeared. Almost. Try not to die. Seojun laughed. No promises. Far above them, hidden beyond the clouds, a mysterious ranking board flickered into existence. Only two names appeared. The first was Kong Jin-hyuk. The second was someone he had never seen before. The name remained on Jin-hyuk's mind long after the ranking board vanished. Someone else. Another impossible existence. Another person carrying memories that should not exist. The thought bothered him more than he wanted to admit, because if someone else had regressed, then every advantage he possessed was no longer unique. The future was becoming crowded, and crowded futures were dangerous. The next morning, the city looked worse. Smoke rose from dozens of districts. Military helicopters crossed the sky. Emergency broadcasts played continuously from giant digital billboards. The government still hadn't regained control. Monsters still roamed freely. Humanity was losing. Exactly as Jin-hyuk remembered. Mostly. The word annoyed him. Mostly. Too many things had already changed. Seojun sat on the roof of an abandoned convenience store, chewing on a piece of bread. You're doing it again. Jin-hyuk glanced at him. What? Thinking too hard. I'm not. You are. I'm not. You definitely are. Jin-hyuk resisted the urge to throw him off the roof. Seojun smiled. You make the same face every time. What face? The one that says you're about to commit murder. See? You're doing it right now. Jin-hyuk stood up. Let's move. Seojun immediately followed. Of course he did. At this point, Jin-hyuk had stopped asking why. Their destination was a subway station. Not because it was safe. Because it wasn't. In his previous life, the station became the site of humanity's first major awakening event. Hundreds died. Dozens gained classes. One person obtained a rare hidden class. Jin-hyuk intended to find out whether history remained the same. The deeper they descended underground, the darker it became. Broken lights flickered overhead. Blood stained the walls. The smell hit them first. Rotting flesh. Seojun immediately covered his nose. God. Bodies lay scattered throughout the tunnels. Some belonged to monsters. Most belonged to humans. Jin-hyuk's expression remained unchanged. He had seen worse, far worse. But Seojun wasn't used to it. Not yet. The younger man's face became pale. His hands shook. Yet he kept walking. Interesting. Most people would have turned back. Seojun continued forward, fearfully. But forward, that mattered. Suddenly, a scream echoed through the tunnel. "Help!" Jin-Yuk moved instantly. The scream came from ahead. A group of survivors ran through the darkness. 5 people. 3 women, 2 men, terrified. Behind them came something much worse, a troll. The creature ducked beneath the tunnel ceiling as it charged. 4 meters tall, covered in gray skin. Its massive fists smashed concrete apart with every step. The survivors never stood a chance. In the original timeline, all 5 died. Jin-Yuk remembered the report. His eyes narrowed, eyes of the end activated. Lines spread across the monster's body. Weaknesses appeared, movement patterns, future actions. The troll raised its arm. Jin-Yuk already knew what would happen next. 3 seconds into the future unfolded before his eyes. The punch, the collapse, the deaths. He stepped forward, then stopped. His expression changed. The future had shifted. The predicted movement vanished. What? The troll's trajectory changed. Impossible. The skill had never been wrong before. Then, a spear of ice exploded from the darkness. Crack! The projectile pierced the troll's shoulder. The monster roared. Everyone froze, including Jin-Hyuk, because the attack shouldn't exist. Not here, not now. The troll staggered backward. Another ice spear appeared, then another, then another. Boom! The creature crashed into a wall. The survivors stared in shock. Did you do that? No, the answer came immediately. Jin-Yuk's gaze shifted deeper into the tunnel. Someone was there. A figure slowly emerged from the darkness. A young woman, silver hair, blue eyes, black coat, an icy aura surrounded her. She looked roughly Jin-Yuk's age. The troll charged again. The woman calmly raised her hand. Dozens of ice spears materialized. The tunnel temperature plummeted. The monster disappeared beneath a storm of frozen death. Seconds later, the troll collapsed. Dead. Silence followed. The survivors erupted into cheers. The woman ignored them. Her attention remained fixed on one person, Kong Jin-Yuk. Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, neither moved. Something felt wrong, familiar, dangerous. The woman studied him, Jin-Yuk studied her. Then she smiled, not warmly, not kindly, knowingly. The smile lasted only a second, but it was enough. Jin-Yuk's heartbeat accelerated. She knew. The realization struck instantly. She knew, not because she recognized him, because she recognized what he was, a regressor. The woman turned away, then disappeared into the darkness. Just like that, gone. Seo-jun looked confused. What was that? Jin-Yuk immediately started walking, fast. The woman had moved deeper into the tunnels. He wasn't letting her escape. Seo-jun hurried after him. Wait, what happened? No answer. The chase continued. Through abandoned platforms, through maintenance tunnels, past collapsed walls. Eventually, they found her, standing calmly at the end of an empty platform, waiting, as though she knew they would come. The silver-haired woman crossed her arms. Her expression remained calm. You're persistent. Jin-Yuk stopped. So are you. Silence. The air between them became tense. Seo-jun looked back and forth, completely lost. What is happening? Nobody answered. The woman's eyes remained fixed on Jin-Yuk. Then she spoke. A single sentence. One sentence that confirmed everything. You weren't supposed to survive. Seo-jun blinked. Jin-Hyuk's expression darkened. The woman smiled again. There it is. What? That look. Her eyes narrowed. The look of someone who remembers. Silence. The world seemed to stop. Seo-jun stared. Remembers? Remembers what? Jin-Yuk slowly exhaled. His suspicions were confirmed. Who are you? The woman tilted her head. A better question would be. Her smile widened slightly. Which timeline are you from? The words echoed through the station. Seo-jun's jaw dropped. What? Nobody looked at him. Neither of them. The conversation had become something else entirely. 2 impossible people, meeting far earlier than fate intended. Jin-Yuk's eyes narrowed. Answer the question. The woman shrugged. Kang Hanyul, a name, nothing more. No guild, no title, no explanation. Jin-Yuk searched his memories. Nothing. No famous hunter, no future legend, no known survivor. Yet she was clearly powerful, too early, which meant one thing. She had hidden herself in the original timeline, or the timeline itself was different. Neither option was reassuring. Kang Hanyul studied him. Then her expression changed. For the first time, she looked serious. You're changing things too quickly. Jinyuk remained silent. She continued. Seojun should be dead. The younger man nearly choked. What? Jinyuk's eyes hardened. How do you know that name? The woman ignored him. 3 hidden dungeons have already changed. Her voice became colder. The Mana Stone drop rate changed. The Eastern District survived. The future is becoming unstable. Every word struck like a hammer. Because she was right, she wasn't guessing. She knew, exactly as he did. The woman sighed, then looked directly into his eyes. If we keep interfering, her voice lowered. Something worse than the apocalypse will notice. A chill ran through Jinyuk's body. Immediately, he thought of the hidden authority. The ancient being beneath the tutorial. The administrators. The broken timeline quest. The warning felt real. Yet before he could ask another question, ding, a system notification appeared. All 3 froze. The screen wasn't blue, it was gold, the same ancient gold, and the message made Jinyuk's blood run cold. 2 returned players have made contact. Silence. Nobody moved. The screen continued. Condition fulfilled. Hidden scenario activated. The station trembled. Far away, somewhere beyond the city. Beyond the gates, beyond humanity itself. Something awakened. And for the first time, fear appeared on Kang Hanyul's face. That's bad. The tunnel lights exploded. Darkness swallowed the station, and a final message appeared. The Watchers are now observing.